Wow, good evening. Good evening, Portside. Good evening, Starboard Side. Okay, I'm going to do that to the first show. Good evening. Thank you very much for the warm welcome. Really, what I want to do tonight is just talk to you about love and marriage, as the guys played on there. I've spent over 27 years of my life at sea, 30 years of my life at sea, 27 in the Royal Navy. And so I just want to talk about the things I love. I'm a traditional man, and maybe share something with you a little bit later on that might just bring a bit more romance back into your life. So, and really, as I say, I'm a traditionalist because I go back to when I was a young man and my bride-to-be went to see the priest, and she said, "Father," she said, "I'm about to be wed, and I want to know what I should wear." And the priest said, "Well, my daughter, if you have never sinned, you will wear white. But if you have sinned, you will wear blue." She said, "Thank you very much, Father. I'm going to wear white with little blue dots around the edges." Actually, he was a bit of he was one of those character priests. He really was. He was one of those guys who could really hold a congregation with his fire and brimstone and all the rest of it. And when he spoke, people listened. And I remember one Sunday, the young girl came running into the church late. She was late for the service, and she got halfway down the aisle, and she slipped, and her legs went in the air, her dress fell backwards, and everything was on show. And from the pulpit, the priest shouted, "If any man looks at that poor, unfortunate woman, may the Lord God strike him blind." My mate turned to me and said, "I'm going to risk one eye." But he was a character as well. He was one of those guys, he always had a story. And I remember he said to me one day before the service, he said, "Kevin," he said, "somebody's stolen my bike." I said, "No, nobody would do that." I said, "Somebody's stolen my bike." He said, "So what I'm going to do today," he said, "I've been looking for 3 weeks. I know somebody's stolen it. I'm going to base my sermon on the 10 Commandments. And when I get to 'Thou shalt not steal,' I'm going to pause. And Kevin, when I pause, I want you to look around the congregation. Whoever's looking a bit shifty, looking a bit embarrassed, that's the person who stole my bike." I said, "Right, Father, you're on." We get to the sermon. He rattles through the 10 Commandments without stopping. I said to him in the vestry after, I said, "Father, I thought you were going to stop at 'Thou shalt not steal.'" He said, "Well, I was, but I got as far as 'Thou shalt not commit adultery,' and I remembered where I left my bike." He told me a story one day about a little old fella who'd come to see him, 85 years old, and he came to confession. And he said, "Father," he said, "I buried my wife 6 months ago, and we were married 52 years, and after the service, everybody came back for small eats and drinks. When everybody had left, my next door neighbour's daughter, who is 21 years old and very, very attractive and nubile and good-looking and blonde, and well, she stayed behind and she helped me clear away. And well, to cut a long story short, Father, that after the service, after everyone had left, we ended up making love. And to be honest, every day for the past 6 months, I've been making love to my neighbour's 21-year-old daughter. And the priest said to him, "Well," he said, "obviously, you know, it's understandable that you would seek comfort in the arms of this young lady, but there is a huge age difference. And so soon after your wife's demise, it's terrible. I'd like you to say 4 Hail Marys and 3 Our Fathers." And the old fellow said, "I'm sorry, Father, I can't do that." And the priest said, "Why?" He said, "Well, I'm a Jew." He said, "Well, why are you telling me?" He said, "I'm telling everybody." Get back to the theme of weddings and all that sort of stuff. One of the most traditional parts of a wedding, of course, is the stag night. Or these days, it's a stag weekend. But I was a traditional guy, and I had a stag night. And of course, I've travelled the world, and I've got friends from all over the world. So my stag night was a very international thing. So there was literally a man from just about every country in the world you could think of. There was an Englishman, a Scotsman, and an Irishman. That's not the gag. There was a Welshman, a German, a Frenchman. There was an American and a Canadian and a Russian. There was a Japanese and a Chinese. There was an Australian. There was a Malay. There was a Korean. There was a Vietnamese. We tried to get into a nightclub, and the guy said, "Sorry, you can't come in without a tie." So we couldn't go nightclubbing, so we went for a meal. We went to this really, really nice restaurant. But I knew it was going to be trouble from the start because there was this little Chinese waiter and he kept ignoring me. And I kept saying, excuse me. I couldn't get, excuse me. In the end, I lost my temper. I went, hey, you! He said, how you know my name? I said, right, what's this here on the menu? I said, Oasis soup. He said, you get a roll with it. That's for the younger people. He said, what's this? I said, what's this soup of the day? He went, I said, chicken? He said, no, mushroom. I said, why did you make a noise like a chicken? He said, I can't make a noise like a mushroom. I said, what's this chicken ping? He said, chicken from a microwave. So I ended up, I went for the soup of the day, I went for a curry, and I went for an apple pie and custard to finish. But what was really annoying was that when the waiter came out with my soup, he had his thumb right up to the second knuckle in the soup. I didn't say anything. When he came out with my curry, thumb, second knuckle. When he came out with my apple pie and custard, where was the thumb? In the custard. Up to the second, I've had enough now. I said, excuse me. I said, what's going on? I said, you've had your thumb in my soup, you've had your thumb in my curry, you've had your thumb in my custard. What's going on? He said, well, the doctor said, I've got rheumatism in my thumb, and I've got to keep it warm. I said, you know what you can do with your thumb? He said, yeah, I'll do that in the kitchen. I did promise you I was going to share a bit of my life's experience with you. So what I want to do now is this where we can all join in together, okay? So all the couples this evening, whether they're married, not married, it's going to be a boy-girl thing, but if you're not a boy-girl couple, we live in the 21st century. And so you just pretend you're a boy-girl for the purpose. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and bring some romance back into your life, and I'm going to teach you all to say, I love you in a multitude of languages. Now you're better than the first evening. Right. Okay, so first thing, all the couples, please hold hands. Would you all hold hands for me? Okay. You two are going to need bloody long arms, aren't you? Okay. Excellent. We have couples here. And if you're not a couple, just pretend. You'll learn something, all right? Okay, so I'm a traditionalist, as I said, so I'm going to start with the ladies. Ladies, I'd like you to look at the person you're with, and with as much passion as you can muster, look them in the eyes and say, I love you. Now, I have to say, guys, the first sitting ladies were a lot more passionate. All right? We'll try that one more time. Ladies, look at the gentleman you're with this evening and say, I love you. I believe there was one who really meant it. Gentlemen, we're now going to reply in French. So look at your wife, girlfriend, partner, whatever. Look them in the eyes, and with all the passion you can muster, say, Je t'aime. Which just goes to prove that the gentlemen on here are far more passionate than the women. Or they've had a few beers and are hopefully get lucky. Anyway. Ladies, it's now your turn, and we're going to reply in German. So, ladies, please say to your husband, boyfriend, partner, whoever it may be, Ich liebe dich. I've got a multilingualist over here beating me to it, by the way. All right? Okay, very good. Very good, ladies. Okay. Gentlemen, you've probably noticed that it's getting harder as we go along. Okay? So, guys, it's our turn. Don't let me down. We're going for Welsh. So please look your wife, girlfriend, partner in the eye, and with all the passion you can muster, ma. Like I said, I come from a very old-fashioned background, and there was a phrase that people used to use for people who perhaps were, she's just got it. Or will later. And yeah, sorry. So anyway, I am very traditional, and there were people, we used to have a phrase, behind the door. Do you remember that phrase, behind the door? People who weren't necessarily a full shilling or weren't up to the speed of things, were known as being a little bit behind the door. And it was a young couple where I come from in Portsmouth, and they were getting married, and they were both a little bit behind the door. You know? And I'll never forget, on the building site where he was working, all week prior to the marriage, his mates are saying to him, Saturday night, you're going to get what's what. Oh, yes, Saturday night, you are getting what's what. Saturday night, she is going to give you what's what. He's like, sorry? What do you mean she's going to give me what's what? Saturday night, she'll give you what's what. Don't you worry about that. Saturday night, you're all going to get what's what. What do you mean I'm going to get what's what? Saturday night, trust us, you're going to get what's what. Meanwhile, in the factory where she works, she's getting the same thing from her mates. Hey, Saturday night, you're going to get what's what. Saturday night, wedding night, he'll give you what's what. She said, what do you mean you'll give me what? Saturday night, trust us, what's what? You're going to get what's what on Saturday night. This goes on all week. Anyway, we come to the wedding goes off without a hitch. The reception goes off without a hitch. And they depart on their honeymoon. And there they are on their honeymoon night, sat in the honeymoon suite, on the edge of the bed. He's in his stripy pajamas. She's in her Wincey nightie. And she looked to him and she said, so come on then, where is it? He said, what do you mean, where is it? She said, well, you're now going to give me what's what? He said, oh, no. My friends have been telling me all week that tonight you'd give me what's what. No, she says, you've got to give me what's what. No, my mates were very, very clear tonight you would give me what's what. No, you've got to give me what. No, you give me what's what. This goes on for a while, as you can imagine. Eventually, they suddenly realise it must be hidden in the room. So they start searching the room. They're looking in the drawers, they're looking in the wardrobe. They can't find it. He decides to look under the bed. He gets down on his hands and knees. And as he gets down on his hands and knees, there's a small gap in the curtains. And the moonlight comes through the gap in the curtains. And where he's on his hands and his knees, his manhood has just dropped out very slightly and catches him in all his glory. And she looks at him and she goes, oh, what's that? He said, what's what? She said, you had it all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Kevin Griggs. You've been terrific. Thank you very much indeed.